Hello everybody, what's poppin'? It's your boy MastaStef, joined here by
Sakin.
And we are the boys from the 482 crew, and we're here to talk about this Blazblue Central Fiction 2 patch update that's coming out in the beginning of August. It was announced at EVO along with Jubei. We got some new stuff going on, so we decided to start off by talking about the changes. And we're going to start with my girl 9. As some of you may know, I am a 9 main, and if you don't know, I'm a 9 main. I'm sorry, not sorry. And she got a lot of changes in the patch. Some were nerfed, some were, I guess, decent. Quality of life changes, hard to tell now, but we're just going to start from the beginning. So the first big change about her is that her crouching hurt box has been increased. For those of you who don't know, she crouches very low to the ground when she's crouching. She can actually go over a lot of things that her characters can't. For example, if Ragnar does Gauntlet Hades into Rapid, and he does Air Dash C after the Rapid, she just... Oh, that was fuzzy. Whew. She just flies...
My bad.
Thank you. You're really doing a good job. See, just flies clean over her head. And she can get a full punish off of that, actually, if I time it right. Oh, never mind. My guy can't do it, so never mind. We're just going to pretend it didn't happen. But yeah, so she won't be able to do that in the patch. Normally, if a character crouches right there against Ragnar, they do get blown up. Like that is how it's supposed to work. Yeah. So she won't be able to do that anymore, because they're going to increase her crouching hurt box. On top of that, her box in the air will also be increased, so she'll be easier to clip in the air, and she'll fall out of people's air combos less. Which they're going to be standardizing a lot of hitboxes on characters in general. So a lot of combos will be less character specific in the patch. So that's fun for all of the people who have to worry about character specific combos and whatnot. Another big change to 9, which is probably one of her biggest changes, is her air dash, or her dash in general, has been changed. If she dashes in any direction that's not forward, it counts towards her negative penalty count. So it would be a lot easier for her to go into negative just by dashing like this full screen and not committing to anything. So like she can't just go back and forward without getting negative added to her. On top of that, her second air dash, or her second dash, has more recovery now. On top of having more recovery, she can now be counter hit out of it, supposedly. I don't know if that's a translation error or if that's what they want. But if you hit her before she fully recovers from her second teleport, she will be in counter hit state. And she won't be able to press a button that fast out of the teleport anymore as well. So you have to be a lot more careful about how you choose to teleport around with 9. So yeah, that right there will be counter hit state. Right now it is not, but after the patch it supposedly will be. So be careful, 9 players, about how you dash. On top of that, another big change about her teleport is that she can now teleport forward on the ground a farther distance. I'm not quite sure how far, but she can travel farther. But if she just chooses to travel farther, then she has more recovery from her dash. And that's all of the major teleport changes as far as her dash goes. So moving on to some of her buttons. A lot of her buttons have increased recovery and or hurt boxes. So 5A, 5B, both have increased recovery, so they don't recover quite as fast. So you can't just like press them and then be okay. 2A has increased recovery and an added hurt box. I'm not sure where the hurt box has been added to, but it takes longer to recover, so that's pretty important. 2B has an increased hurt box as well. 2C has increased recovery and a hurt box as well. So it should be easier to counter poke and whiff punish these buttons. Her 6 buttons, however, have got a buff slash nerf. All of her 6 buttons now have increased startup, so they come out a lot faster. But they have increased in recovery, so you can react anti-air a lot better with these buttons. But you can't just throw them on neutral as safely anymore, because you can get blown up for doing that now. So watch out for that. 3C also has faster startup but increased recovery. So be careful about using 3C too much as well. Her throw now has full invuln during the animation. I wasn't aware it didn't have full invuln at all beforehand, because I've never been in a situation where I've thrown someone and something has been on the screen there to hit me. But apparently it's fully invuln now. Huzzah. On top of that, her air throw box is not as dumb anymore. I'm sure a lot of you have seen all of the crazy like gifs and stuff on Twitter of her grabbing people behind her and grabbing people from like really ridiculous ranges like that. That's no longer a thing. She can now like that. She can't do that anymore because they're standardizing air grab boxes for all the characters. So at least I'm assuming I'm assuming that they're gonna shrink everybody to make them an average size, but they might be increasing everyone to 9 size. I highly doubt that's the case. But now you don't have to worry about crazy, ridiculous air grabs. Or if you do, then you have it too, so it won't be as bad. But I'm pretty sure everybody's air grab range is gonna shrink to an average size. So characters like Arakune 9 and Izuyoi don't have like crazy giant grab boxes from across the screen. So now we're going to move on to some of the changes for some of her spells. First major change to her spells, let's actually start with her DP first. Her DP now has more recovery. So if you bait it, so for example, my good friend Seiken's going to take me over to the corner here. He's going to knock me down and do something to bait my DP. So if you bait it like this now, see how that was not a counter hit? I could have blocked. That would not be counter hit because she has more recovery on whiff now. So anytime you jump over it or backdash bait it, you should be able to punish it a lot more consistently now. But it has increased hit stun and block stun to make up for that. So if you regular block it, it still probably won't be punishable. Because as right now, it's currently not punishable, as you all know, unless you're Hazama. But
wait, he can punish it?
Yeah, he can punish it. You can punish it with his 5A and then with Hotenjin as well. Since Hotenjin's 5 frames or 4 frames, whatever. Another big change, I actually like to change a lot, is that her ice spells now do increased. They do less pushback. So for combos where you end in ice like this and see how far away they push it back, that will not be the case anymore. They'll now leave you closer. They also do extra damage. So that's pretty cool. So now she can get better Oki mid-screen and probably better mix-ups mid-screen. You can probably do like this standing reset mid-screen because currently she cannot do this mid-screen because the pushback is too severe. But in the corner, as you all know, she freezes you in the corner. She can mix you up by choosing to go low or drop Kunzite. So that's pretty good. But they also removed freeze time after DP. So if you do DP someone and then rapid it, you don't get like the same kind of freeze into Oki like you currently do. Which is fair, so I'm perfectly okay with that. They're also adding increased pushback to all of her wind spells. So if she does this little, I like to call it disruptor, if she does that, it has more pushback. The pushback is just on hit or just on block. They did not specify. I would assume increased pushback on block since that makes more sense to me. But maybe no pushback on hit too. Not like it actually matters since it pushes you basically full screen on hit, but who knows, we'll see. And that's basically all the big changes about her DP and level 1 spells. So now a lot of her level 2 spells, actually all of her level 2 spells got big changes. We'll start with the Mask, Helidor, since that's like the most underused or underseen spell. I'm pretty sure not many people know what it actually does. So it gives her a hit of guard point as she is the start of a button. It goes away relatively quickly though. But while it's out, if you try to hit a button, it doesn't work very well either. Like that, bam, perfect. So she's in recovery at all, actually. It gives her a guard point. Like that, yeah. So she's in any kind of non-neutral state, it gives her a guard point. It's generally pretty useless, not really much use for it, but it has its, sometimes it has uses. So next change is the mirror. The mirror is getting a change to where it starts up faster traveling and then slows down over time. So right now it kind of goes out pretty slowly and then picks up pace and then peters out eventually. So it'll be going a lot faster on the startup and then slowing down over time. Another big change is that you'll now be able to set it up behind your opponent. So you can kind of like sandwich your opponent between you and the mirror like this. Which it might cause interesting dynamic in certain matchups. It might help people might help Nine close the gap on people a bit easier. So we'll see how that changes. I kind of like that. And another big change is that Amethyst, my favorite spell, just like the mirror, it will now start up faster and travel faster across the screen than slow down, instead of being this consistent rate all the way across the screen. I know that's really annoying for a lot of matchups. They can't really deal with it because it stays the same speed and it just slowly travels there. You really can't do much about it because it's a giant hitbox. And it lasts for 6 seconds real time. So now it will start up traveling a lot faster, but then slow down as it goes across the screen. Which they didn't say it changes the overall time of the move, so it'll probably still travel for 6 seconds. But it'll probably be a lot easier to deal with or avoid. At least at the beginning. So another spell that got a lot of changes is this spell, Andronite. Andronite is now no longer as plus on block. It is also no longer as active, so the explosion probably won't last as long. But as a trade-off, it says it does start up faster, so I'm assuming that the explosion will come out a lot quicker than that, which might open up new combo opportunities, since she doesn't really have that many currently, unless you like set something up beforehand.
Side switch combos?
Oh yeah, that might be cool. It might have some cool side switch combos. She already has a few of those, but they're not as
easier.
Cool. Yeah, so she'll have better side switch combos. So that might be interesting, depending. So now everyone's favorite change is Kunzite got a lot of changes. So Kunzite now apparently only appears in front of 9. So instead of tracking from like this far away, they apparently shortened the range to where it now only appears, I'm assuming, like this close in front of 9. Supposedly, one translation said that the air version covers more distance, so the air version will cover about that far away, whereas the grounded version will only cover about this far away. I'm not really sure if that's true. If that is true, it kind of like might hurt some of her like combos, since she does have to like TK Kunzite off of certain confirms for it to work. But I'm not sure how true it actually is. We'll have to wait for the patch to come out to actually see. But you don't have to worry about it tracking you full screen anymore, so that's good. On top of that, it's also not as plus on block anymore. It's no longer plus 23. I'm not sure how plus and or not plus it'll be on block after the patch, but it won't be plus 23 anymore. And now also the second hit of Kunzite is also no longer overhead in the patch. Right now, both hits of Kunzite are overhead, and if you try to like block switch in the middle of them, you can get clipped. So for example, if you block the first hit high and then switch to low mid Kunzite, if you can block Kunzite at all, it is.
Kunzite's hard, man.
Yeah, like I said, like that. If you try to block low, you can get clipped mid Kunzite. That won't be a thing anymore, since the second hit will now be a mid. And last but not least, Kunzite's only other change is oh no, that was it actually. Yeah, that's it. It still acts the same way on hit, so if you actually hit somebody with it, you still get all the same combos. So that should be fine. And because these buttons are still special cancelable, even though they have added recovery, that won't actually change their combos. Another change that supposedly Crimson Raider has, they removed the invincibility from it, but I didn't know it had invuln at any part in it. So that's strange, but they removed invuln from Crimson Raider. So yeah. Her only other spell that got a big change was her the clock. The clock got a change. It says that it increases opponent's recovery time. So I'm not, or recovery frames. I'm not sure if that means that they recover faster, or if you get they get less recovery when it pops off. I'm not exactly sure. But you can always
maybe they just changed the clock, right? Like maybe the clock slows people down. I don't know.
Oh, that might be a thing.
That'd be super interesting.
That would be interesting, yeah.
It'd be a lot more interesting than a super that has to be barrier guarded.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. So I'm actually really excited about a lot of her changes because I think it'll make the way you play her more unique. And it'll also be a lot harder to just play her like preemptively throwing out buttons. So you have to be a lot more careful. It might hurt her in some of her like weaker matchups, but it'll definitely make a lot of characters that had a hard time dealing with her a lot easier to deal with. Or they'll have an easier time dealing with her in general after the patch. So that's good for them. Another big change about her DP, actually, I forgot to mention earlier, is that the buff you get from it now does more damage. So right now, if you do like a 5A without the buff, it does like 600 damage, and a 5A with the buff does like 660 damage. So it's like slightly increased, about 10%. Supposedly she'll get more damage off of it. So if you don't know what the buff does, whenever you have a spell and you pop it, whatever color she's glowing, all of your normals and spells that correspond with that color do extra damage. So, good example, so this into this does 1087 with the buff. Without the buff, does 1027. So it'll do more damage after the patch. Only a little bit more though. So her only other changes were, she had changes to 2 of her supers, so come to the corner, my friend. So right now, this super here has only invincibility before the super flash, but if you media it, it has no invuln. So if you knock me down, and I do the super on wake up, I'll get kind of hit every time, as long as the media is properly timed. If you mistime your media, so if you do like a 2A or something instead, and it's like not perfectly timed, she can get away with waking up with it, like that, and she can get a combo off of it. But it's not a good reversal option. So what they're changing about it is that now the invuln before startup will be taken away, but invuln after startup will be added. So I'm not really sure.
I mean, it's like a pseudo reversal. They're actually doing that with a couple of moves in the game, right? Yeah. Like I know Transam is one of the moves that's turning into that, right? So in frame traps, like, so I guess like if you're blocking Ragnar and he does that, you can super in between it, and that won't happen. That
is true, yeah. So that'll be really interesting and probably get a way for her to deal with pressure. They're also changing it to where it has less recovery, and the opponent it says the opponent position has been changed in order to combo, so it's already pretty easy to combo off of, but apparently they're going to make it even better to combo off of. I'm not really sure what they could do to change that, but I guess we'll see after the patch. It also says that on block, the attack will only connect once. So right now, if he blocks it, as you see, there's like a bunch of explosions, and she gets her spells, and it's super plus, so you really can't press a button afterwards, because it's like almost as plus as Kunzite. But the thing is about the super is if you wrap it, only one hit connects, she doesn't get any spells from it. So I'm assuming that they're going to make it like that, where only one hit connects if they block it, so that way she doesn't get her spells from it anyway, just for you blocking it and baiting it properly. And then the only other change that she had is this super. Right now, if you rapid it, if it connects, you can't combo, because your opponent's like fully invincible for some reason. So they're changing it to where the opponent will no longer be fully invincible, so you can now combo off of it.
It's probably a bug.
It's probably like a bug fix. It's really weird that it's a thing. In the general, what I see is like they're just invincible for no reason. No matter what you do, you cannot hit them. So they're gonna change to where you can now combo after it if you RC it, which is you only see that much anyway, since this super is like one of her only reversals, but it's not a really very good reversal. But I guess if you get really desperate and you decide to do this rapid and it hits, you can now at least get a combo from it. Oh, a combo right there. Ah, that's weird.
Like I said, I think it's just a bug.
Yeah. Alright, but that's basically all of 9's changes in a nutshell. Like I said, a lot of things we have to play around with when the patch actually comes out. Oh no, I actually did miss one other thing. So I forgot to actually tell you what the change to they made to the mask is. I just talked about the mask. So they now made the mask an attack instead of a guard point hit, and it has different attack patterns. So supposedly, maybe you'll be able to set them to do different things depending on what you press when you input it. I'm not exactly entirely sure what the attack patterns will be, but it'll probably be something to help add to like her combos or pressure.
Maybe it shoots out like a fireball.
Alright, maybe it's like Dizzy's fish or something, where like it shoots something out.
Yeah, that'd actually be really cool.
Yeah. So we'll just have to wait and see. I'm actually really excited about that. So overall, I think 9 will probably still be fine. I do think that it should be harder to play in terms of her neutral game. Nothing about her combo structure seems to have changed much. A lot of her combos will probably still be the same. I think they just opened up some new possibilities for her combos. So that's really exciting. Just so her combos will be fairly the same or simple, but I do think her neutral will be a little bit harder. You can't just throw out buttons all willy-nilly in neutral and expect to be safe all the time. You have to think a little bit more. So if, like a lot of 9 players who didn't really think about it beforehand will have to think about it more cautiously, like which buttons you actually want to use, as opposed to just throwing out whatever button in neutral because you can get away with it. Your movement will also be limited, so you won't be able to dash around as freely anymore, which will it definitely will hurt some matchups, but it'll make you be more creative on how you get in on certain characters. So like I said, a lot of her matchups might be some of her matches might go a little bit weaker against characters that can zone around well, or characters that can like fight her in neutral might be a little bit weaker overall, but I still think she'll be a strong character. And if you can't block Kunzite before, you're still not gonna block Kunzite afterwards. So if that was your big problem fighting 9, then she's still gonna be a problem for you. A lot of her Oki and things will still be the same. So overall, I think they did a good job of balancing her without taking away from her overall power. So I still think she'll be a strong character. Depending on how the other characters are played, so depending on how the changes to the other top tiers and like the mid tiers being brought up or changed, she might not be top 6 anymore. It's hard to say who will be top 6 after the patch actually, without getting our hands on it. But I do think she'll still be a very strong character. Probably still somewhere in top 10 if I had to put money on it somewhere. Who knows, she might even stay in top 5 depending on how bad the other characters got nerfed in comparison. I'll definitely still keep playing her and try her out. I do think she'll be a lot more fun after the patch, because I think they're opening more creativity in how she will be played. And that's all. That's my 9 introspective on the patch notes for BBCF 2. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll have more coming in the near future.
Thank you. And don't forget to like, follow, subscribe.
Yep, we'll have a lot more content coming on the way. Get excited for Blazblue, everybody. And we'll see you next time. Peace.